champions.
E-A-T-L-E-S,
Swinging a miss, struck him out. The Philadelphia Phillies are 2008 World Champions of Baseball. Ladies and gentlemen, the Flyers are going to win the Stanley Cup. The Flyers win the Stanley Cup for the lead. Yes! Iverson, wow, what a fake off Daniels as he broke his ankles and got all the way to the cup.
Yo. What's going on, boys?
What's up, fellas?
It is episode 69.
Ooh, we hit the
We hit
midway
the special.
point.
It's
It's a special episode.
It's a special episode.
Welcome to
It's
Sex
the-
Education on Broad.
It's the yin and the yang.
Oh, here we
right?
go. Uh-oh.
We're getting canceled in the first 5 minutes. Here we go.
We can't get canceled. I mean, we can, but we can't. And
We'd have
plus
to
you
try
won't.
really damn hard.
Yeah, you got to do some real fucked up stuff.
What's going
I say a
on,
lot of
Chris?
weird shit, so nobody did anything. Hey, Chris, what's up, buddy? Oh, man,
Oh.
Don. Joe, it's good to have you back, bud. Good to have you back. We held it down without you last week. You know, I asked about you. Something came up. Glad to have you back.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it's nice to be back with you guys. Anytime we could talk Philly sports and the ups and downs of being a Philadelphia sports fan, I'm here for that.
The emotional roller coaster.
Roller fucking coaster.
And
Hey, listen,
we are
look.
sitting front and back seat because they're the best seats. Not
Oh,
sitting
my
in the
God.
middle. Not in
No.
the puke zone. I'm
No
either
middle seat.
throwing up on or you're still you're sitting in the back, probably still getting thrown up on. But it's okay. We just live and learn because that's Philly sports.
I wish we could still sit in the 700 level.
That's where we belong. Honestly, if our podcast was a podcast, you'd have like full court press who's courtside, and then it's like us in the 700 level, just like being drunk and like yelling things. But people are like, they kind of make sense, but they totally belong here.
Agreed.
That's
I can't. This is Rich. Well, look no further than one of our most recent pieces of merchandise here. The
Yup.
life of a Philly sports fan. There's always next season. So, hey, listen, go check out some of our merch. Go check out some of our sponsors scrolling across the bottom. You see them in the link, whatever. Gentlemen, tonight we're going to mix it up. There's only one sports team playing right now, the Phillies. We
They
talked
stink.
about them last week.
Yeah.
They're back to they are
who
who they thought we were. So,
Yeah.
but we let them off the hook.
Yeah. Familiar sucks still.
Yeah.
That's pretty much all I have on that take.
Is he did they cut him yet?
I was hoping they cut him before the season started, but they didn't. And he's got a whopping 5.55 ERA.
Beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful,
my
man. Now, but hey, you always still have guys like Nick Nelson and Bellotti.
Oh God.
God. I'm just glad they got rid of Norwood. Thank God.
Yeah, I mean, listen.
Yeah, how about it?
They traded. They were able to trade him.
Who?
They were
Norwood.
Norwood.
He got traded?
He
Yeah.
got traded.
Did we get back like a broken dishwasher?
Yes.
Hey, Jay, what's up?
What's going on, Jay?
Jay summed it up. Drunk bastards. Hey,
Yeah.
fucking man. But Don,
listen.
back to the topic. Go ahead, bud.
Hey, listen. Tonight we're gonna mix it up, right? We're going in a completely different direction. We're talking something that not a whole lot of people are talking about tonight. Half the show we're gonna be the GM of the Sixers and try to figure out what the hell's going on in Darren Morey's head. The other half we're gonna be talking fantasy football. So
Let's get
just we got the draft is the draft is coming up tomorrow night. Does that 23rd pick mean anything?
It's tomorrow?
Well, no, Rich.
Surprise.
Man.
Surprise!
Dude, this is honestly, it's crazy because this is kind of why I like basketball because it goes on forever and the offseason starts right away.
Well, and here's
Like, I don't have to
the
wait
thing.
months like in the NFL. Like, oh, this is going to be interesting. All right, the game's just ended. Okay, now let's have a draft. It's like, all right, back to preparing. And like you said, I'm not going to get anything with the 23rd pick.
No.
You know,
Go ahead, Joe.
The Sixers or the NBA in general, you know, you want to talk about a crapshoot drafting in the first round, drafting players in the first round. You know, the Sixers are – I still don't know how they pulled it off. And, you know, with them taking Maxey, what I think was pick 21 a couple years ago.
Well, that's what Rory was drafting.
But, yeah, it's – look
with knowledge of basketball.
Look at the first pick. Look at the third pick. Look at Markelle Fultz and then Jason Tatum. Like the amount of misses compared to hits is just it's mind blowing.
How about
mind blowing?
So Simmons, TLC, and Furkan in the same draft. And we didn't pick Siakam. And Siakam
what are the
was
chances
the best one in that draft class.
What are the chances that we hit on that pick anyway? It's like probably what 10% if you had to put a number on it. So I think the 23rd pick is like I'm packaging it with multiple players.
Yeah. Oh God.
See,
listen,
get it out of here.
Seriously, like we are at the phase of this franchise where those draft picks, that draft pick could be higher, and it's not nearly as significant because you need to put impact players around Joel Embiid right now.
Yep.
You don't need a 23-year-old kid. God bless whoever's going to be that pick.
It's going to be a 23-year-old stretch forward who's a project. Like
that pick, and truthfully, the NBA draft has gotten closer to the NHL draft than it is anything else because there are a lot, unless you are truly dialed in to NCAA basketball, there's going to be a lot of guys that you don't even recognize. So
I'm going to say I don't recognize any of them because I am not dialed into college basketball. I am so dialed out. Like it's just bad. I wish I could sit there and watch college basketball all year, but my brain does not compute that way. Like I have my teams I follow, and then like it's so hard. That's why I long for Eagles when they're on. I long for the Sixers. I long for the Phillies. And then when they get here, it's just like, fuck, why did I long for this? Because I know what I signed up for.
Right.
So for me to like fall in love with like college basketball players, and especially, all right. So, and here, sorry, brief tangent. Markelle Fultz, the consensus #1 overall pick. We trade up, we get him. We're all super excited. He absolutely stinks. He forgets how to shoot.
Thoracic outlet syndrome.
This is exactly the reason why I can't follow this, because you get so amped up that you're getting this high school, college stud. Dude played 1 year at wherever. I'm not saying Fultz did, but I'm just saying you look at like the Dukes and the Kentuckys and all that shit. These guys who go out. Right. And it's just like, come on, man. It's like this dude was supposed to be the next best things in sliced bread. And he's a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
I just can't invest my time in that. It's just hard.
Yeah. Listen,
sorry. I just took up 3 minutes of nothing. I apologize.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I mean, cheers.
I'll drink to that.
Yeah. Cheers. But Rich, you're right on a lot of points. Like there is not a lot of names to invest in. Like there's a bunch of kids from Duke because Duke is highly loaded and they have a ton of talent, right? You got the kid from Gonzaga, Chet Holmgren, but like those guys aren't going to be impact players.
Do you think Chet Holmgren is going to be a top 100 NBA player before his career's over?
No, not at all.
That's what I'm saying. No. Like, I'm sorry, dude. No offense to the lanky white boy, but you're not going to be a top 100 player. Like, I've seen you play in a tournament. You can shoot from college level. Good for you. But it's the same thing you look at every single collegiate level to pros. Guys are bigger, stronger, faster than you. They've been doing it for longer. Like these high impact guys, Don, like you said, it's closer to the NHL draft. There's 2 dudes you want. And if you don't get those 2 guys who may impact this year, who should be because of the high draft capital you're giving up for them, then it actually means nothing. Like the draft means nothing. Just give those picks away for proven commodities or just role players on your bench who can contribute now. Because that's essentially what you're going to wait for these guys. And it's like by the time they hit their 3rd year going out of their contract, because I don't think they're guaranteed like 5 years. Like they're at most 3 to 4 years.
I think it's 4. There's 4, and there's normally a player out, like a team.
So these guys might hit strides in their 3rd year, and then all of a sudden the 4th year's coming. Then you got to pay them. It's like none of these guys are going to make an impact for their first team.
Yeah,
like let's be real. It's hard.
Joe, you know who he reminds me of? You remember Adam Morrison from Gonzaga?
Oh, what? Chet Holmgren?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Tall,
he shot the lights out in college and then in the tournament, and he was just the dude couldn't miss. Then he got into the league, and it was like, oh man, now I got to get physical with these guys. You know, Chet Holmgren's what, 7 foot, probably 150 all wet. Dude's gonna get schooled, man. I can see his heartbeat.
Dude, and the thing is, it's not even going to be by like another superstar. Like these guys come in and get checked by like the Marquise Morris brothers, the Montez Harrells, like the Patrick Beverleys, like the instigators, the agitators. Like these guys are going to beat them the fuck up. It's going to be like a welcome to the league type thing. And these kids never got beat up like that.
No,
they're going to be I really am not made for this shit.
Yep.
Which is going to happen. But Don, you want to be a GM of the Sixer? Right? You want to be the GM of the Sixers. So I want to know, Don, what is your first move that you're making as your GM of the Philadelphia 76ers?
I need to bring in someone who's going to walk in and throw a set on the table and just not take anybody's bullshit and just go out there and be an enforcer. So I'm looking at adding a guy like PJ Tucker. Right? I know that he's 37. Right, he's looking for a 3-year deal. I'm looking past that and saying, I got a 3-year window with Embiid. I got to put the best possible team around him. And I know that that's a guy I can add free of charge, right? I know I got to pay him his money, but like I don't have to give anybody up to get him. And he drastically changes the impact that comes off the bench, or a guy that can slide into your starting 5. Mm-hmm. To me, I go in that direction first, but I know that the bench, everybody's got to go. Everybody is free for sale.
Yep.
Everybody can go. The only player to me truly that's untouchable is Embiid.
Yeah.
If I got to put in a guy, as much as I loved what Maxey did in this first year, if I got to put him in a package to be able to get an upper echelon guy to match with Joel Embiid and James Harden, and I can put a bigger 3 together. No, nobody's untouchable but Embiid, because I really feel like I don't want to be in a position where we end up, and this is going to go back a ways, but like I don't want to be in a position where the Rockets were when they had to trade Moses Malone.
Yeah.
Right? Because we could if this blows up in our face, we could very easily be in a position like that where like year after year, we're constantly trying to put pieces around Embiid. And then finally Embiid is like, and we know what this league is. We know this is a star league. We know that this league is surrounded by guys that pull the power move and say, I want to go here, I want to go here. I don't want to be in a position where I want Embiid going. I don't want Embiid to be the guy that is like, I'm out. Peace. Send me somewhere.
Go ahead, Joe. What are you doing?
You know, I've toyed with the idea of Maxey being dealt and him moving on in a deal, and it's hard for me to wrap my head around moving away from a guy who has the potential to be a star. I mean, he's shown,
You're
he's
right.
shown that flashes of stardom, like pure stardom, like taking over a game from start to finish, scoring 35, 40 points a night. I think you need to add somebody who can complement him and where he can still have those kind of games. Adding a guy like Bradley Beal instantly makes this team better, because I think you can work out who's going to start, who's going to come off the bench. You can work all that stuff out. But I think if you have a guy like Beal, it's the fourth quarter, you're down 2 or you're down 3, and you need a clutch bucket.
Yeah.
The only guy on this team right now that I want taking that shot is Joel Embiid. If you put a guy like Bradley Beal on this team in those kind of situations, you know damn well that he's gonna want the ball, and he's gonna be taking that shot too. Embiid gets double and triple teamed. Sometimes he freaks out and he doesn't know what to do with the ball. You get a guy like Beal, spotting up from wherever, he can create his own shot, and he's an automatic bucket. I want him to be, 1 or 1A, rather than, a Maxey or a Harden. I think Harden's days of doing that are, it's slim to none.
So Jay, to speak to Joe, to speak to that, what is a deal that you would put in place to get Beal? If you had to get Beal from the Wizards, is it a trade that you could make 1-for-1?
Well, he's an unrestricted free agent right now.
You have to find out who's telling the truth on whether he's going to opt out or not. So,
I mean, Spot Rack has him up here right now as an unrestricted free agent. He did not take the player option.
Okay. Well, that's the problem with that now is too, if he's, free and clear, I mean, it's going to be hard, because there's going to be a lot of noise and a lot of teams and players pulling hard to recruit him. So, Embiid's got to sell him. Embiid's got to sell him on this team, this city. We're one star player away and a couple bench pieces away from pulling the shit off. So, I mean, then we get to the bench. It's like, I agree with Don on the bench. It's like, I don't think I would keep anybody on the bench. Yeah. I think anybody and everybody on that bench is totally expendable, because you saw series after series, a guy would be hot for a game or two. George Niang, Danny Green was forced into the lineup with Matisse not playing. He would have a really good game, and then he would have a really shitty game. We need guys off the bench that are instant buckets, and they're going to do it every single night. That's the only way this team's going to win. You can bring in any top caliber player for your starting 5, but if your bench is as bad as the Sixers bench, you're in a lot of trouble.
Rich, what do you got?
First thing that I'm doing is telling everybody who was on my bench, thanks for nothing, and you're not coming back. And literally, this is the team that I'm building around. Joe and Maxey. As much as I love Harden, I'm going to try to put him out there and say, hey, is anybody interested in this guy? Let me see what I can get back, free up that money. Tobias, I'm going to look at some teams with some good young bench players, and I'm going to say, hey, cheap contracts. You guys need another superstar, another contender. I mean, Tobias is good. What's up? You saw him play well in the playoffs. See
Right.
what bench players you can get. I want to try to build my bench through trading Tobias because I really don't want the draft picks back. And maybe try to give them Thibault as well. Just like package both of those guys. Be like, all right, elite defender, good offensive ball skills. Give me back 2 young bench players who can grow, athletic, speed, good wings. Let me see what I can get there. I'm really infatuated with getting a nice backup point guard. So if we can get, who was I looking at down here? I honestly don't mind trying to see where the hell is he at. I like Gary Payton if we can get him for cheap. He had a hell of a run in the playoffs. He's probably going to get a bag, so I don't know. Dragic, I would love to have Dragic come off the bench if we can get him. You got backup centers like Tony Bradley or Looney, like a nice pick that you can come off. I don't really want Oladipo because his just injury concerns. But it's just like one of those situations. This roster is so slow. This roster is beyond bad. Like, I love James Harden, but at the same time, if we get the James Harden through the first series and toward the end of the season, it's not really making an impact. And here's the best news. I heard through the grapevine they were talking about the Nets with Kyrie Irving might be leaving. Mm-hmm. And then that means KD is going to force his way out. That means Ben's the man in Brooklyn. And then he'll win more than 10 games. So I found that pretty hilarious when I was reading today and listening to the radio. But Avery Bradley is another name I like. Like, PJ Tucker is great for his grit. At 37, I don't see him playing all 82 games. So he's got to be a guy for rest management. Comes time for the playoffs, he can hit shots. I'm not a real big fan of even plugging him into my starting lineup. I don't ever want to see that happen because I just don't think the guy's a knockdown. He can hit the open shots when you need him in the playoffs. He's got grit and integrity. But at the same time, I'm trying to stay away from that bully ball because I want to build through athleticism because most of the best teams are young, athletic teams. Look at the Celtics, for example. You have 2 guys who can absolutely fly and do whatever they want on the court in Brown and Tatum. And then you got Smart, who is just a fantastic defensive presence and can score whenever he wants to. It's just there's a bunch of names out there, and then there's a bunch of not. Like, don't give me the Jeremy Lambs. Don't give me the Thad Youngs. I don't need to see that. I like Rick Rubio, but he's going to demand so much, and I want a guy to come off and play complimentary ball to Maxey. Or you try to trade Tobias and get rid of Harden for maybe a younger point guard where then Maxey is forced into the ultimate bench threat, and he comes right off the bench fresh, runs the second team, and drops 25. That could be a possibility. But as Jason keeps saying, we need athletes and we need big wings.
Yeah.
For me, I'm going athleticism over the bully ball, and we need a bench. You've seen how great some of these benches are. But, I mean, it also goes back to the process. Failed draft pick after failed draft pick after failed draft pick. Then you have the NBA steps in, and they make the Colangelos run the team. They run that shit into the ground, make terrible choices, like not picking Siakam with 3 different first-round picks. You had the chance to get him. You didn't because they, as Tyrone was saying on the radio today, Joel said, hey, I like this guy. Go get him. And obviously, Colangelo's wife hated Joel.
Right.
So, of course, they're not going to get him. And there you go. And then, of course, Morey hits on his draft pick in Maxey.
Right.
But then that's it. Like, so where are we supposed to go? But for me, I'm trying to build athleticism. I would love Beal. Like, it would be fucking awesome to get Beal. But I would sacrifice Harden and Tobias to get Beal. Because I think him and Joe and a solid bench and I don't even say a third star, but a third guy who can average me 18, 19, that's good. And I think that puts you in a position to compete. Better than what we did last year.
So you still keep Maxey's still on the team.
Only people I want to keep are honestly from this team are Maxey
and Joe.
But if we don't do anything this year, as Jason was saying on the side, I won't be surprised if Joe gets traded. I think they have to trade Joe because they need to do right by him. And I know it sucks because I never want to see him go anywhere else. Hey, Lacey, how are you, boss lady? But it's one of those things. We owe it to Joe to make that push and make this team a contender for a few years. And if we can't get that done, get that big man a ring. Send him somewhere where he can flourish. I'm just too kind of a GM. I'm just too kind. This organization had multiple shots to do the right thing and to draft well, and we haven't. And this is why we can only keep, 5 players this year? Because we had to spend money on stupid people.
I mean, but look no further than like the team that just won, right? Look at the contributions that they got from guys all up and down the roster.
Robert Williams, right. Jaylen Brown, Jason Tatum, all these fucking guys they drafted. It's so crazy when you draft well. It's so crazy.
Right, but Gary Payton II, Juan Toscano Anderson, and Rich. They hit on
everyone.
But those buy low, big reward free agents, right? Guys like Otto Porter Jr.
Yeah.
Right. Who, correct me if I'm wrong, but got paid like under $3 million this year, but uberly produced for them coming off the bench. Like Jonathan, like they had guys up and down that roster that came in and contributed, and you need to hit on those guys. Like a guy, for example, like the guy they brought in this year, like George Niang, right? A guy like that, but needs to hit like a guy like Otto Porter Jr.
We need a Corvette, not a minivan, though.
Yeah.
True.
Well said.
That dude was way slow.
So what are you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, we absolutely need to add speed to this team. Transition defense was horrendous. But we need it. We do need an edge. We need an edge player who is not going to take any shit, and he's going to show up in key moments to rally around the team to get their heads screwed on straight and have each other's back. We don't have anybody like that. This team is. I'm just going to say it. This team is borderline soft. It's borderline soft because they don't have that. They don't have that dog.
They don't have the dog or the athleticism.
They don't have the dog. Correct.
That's why they're soft. Because you can be a finesse team and still have fight, but we're neither. We're stuck in.
They have no fight.
No.
That left when Jimmy left.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where these pieces.
The one that got away.
The one that got away. That's another thing that was another player we can blame on Ben. You can blame that on Ben too. But you know what? Ben's living his best life out there deep sea fishing, huh?
I mean, Jimmy still hasn't won shit since he left, so not really worried about it. I still don't think Jimmy's ever going to get a title. I really don't. So? No, I don't think Jimmy. Jimmy played outrageous this year, and in the playoffs, he was a man possessed. I don't see him repeating that success. I just don't see it.
No, and Jay, the chances of Jimmy Butler ever coming back here, I'm going to eat my words, and God forbid, I hope this never happens. But it's probably more likely that Embiid would end up in Miami than Jimmy Butler would end up in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's true. He did say they need one more superstar down there.
Oh, my God.
He did. He said it.
Yeah.
He said it.
He did say it.
So just before we wrap this up, we can all agree that the 23rd pick tomorrow night means nothing.
Yes.
That there's a lot of work to do. If there is a player that you had to cherry pick that you can add to this roster for next year, who's the one guy you're adding for next year?
From the draft?
No. Like,
I was going to say Don, pass.
No.
I was going to say pass.
No, we've already established.
Pass to Joe. I'll take Joe's.
The draft guys mean nothing, right? The draft guys are not going to come in and impact a team that is trying to contend for a title. But, like, if you had to cherry pick a guy from free agency that you could add to this roster? No questions asked. Who's the guy you're adding that you can add?
Free agency or trade?
From free agency or trade.
Well, if we're talking trade, I don't know how they would play together. I mean, they did have success with Jersey, but I can't see the Nets going for anything that we have, or they would probably want too much. But what about Kevin Durant?
I'd be the only guy I'd go.
How can Kevin Durant coexist with James Harden and Joel Embiid?
I think James Harden was just sick of Kyrie's bullshit.
I think so too, Mr. Flat Earth. But anyway, that's what I would do. That's what I would do because he's won a championship. Granted, he was, on Golden State, but look at this. Look at the year when they lost to Milwaukee. If he's an inch or two behind that 3-point line, when he took that last shot, they win Game 7.
Yeah.
There is no Milwaukee championship. They knock Milwaukee off, and New Jersey plays or Brooklyn plays the Suns. So he's a Hall of Fame player, and that's a guy that I want because you know what? He's a dog. That's a guy that I would make a deal for, but I don't know what they would want. They'd probably try to fleece us. That's the problem. You're going to have to give up more than you want to give up. The question is going to come down to, do you want to give up, Maxey? Would you give them Maxey? They're going to want Maxey. It.
Listen, if I can get Durant back, take whoever you want.
Sorry, Maxey.
Yeah,
sorry, buddy.
Listen, great. Thank you for your contributions.
Yeah.
If you can give me the best shooter on the planet,
yep,
I'm in.
What do you got, Don? I want to go last.
You want to go last? Listen, if there's a guy like that guy has to be a guy that comes in and impacts your team right away. I don't like Beal for the idea that he has a history of taking either plays or games or possessions off. He's a guy that makes me really leery because he can score 60 points in a game, but his defense is fucking horrible. So I don't want to be redundant, but the guy that I like with all the bullshit that's going on in Brooklyn, right? That Kevin Durant meme is staring me in the face. And I'm saying, how do I get that guy and pair that guy with Joel Embiid and James Harden? So if it's me, I'm doing everything that I can to figure out how do I save Kevin Durant from the travesty that is New York.
I like it.
He did, and he just bought into the Union, didn't he?
He's a part owner in the Union, so he could come home.
I want LeBron.
Go ahead, Rich.
All right, LeBron for Toby. Done deal.
That's it. LeBron, come on. That's it. That's all I got.
Who are you giving up?
Who am I giving up? I don't give a fuck who I have to give up. See you, Harden. See you, Tobias. Peace. Come on, LeBron.
Listen,
Anthony Davis, Russell Westbrook, and James Harden play together and watch that team fall apart quicker than
in reality, that really, if he was looking at that from a basketball sense, and he was looking at that and saying, having the opportunity to play with, maybe he knew something about Ben Simmons that we all didn't know, but on paper, it would have made sense to say, I can play with two young, super uberly athletic players, or I can go out to LA. I know that there were intangibles in LA that we couldn't control.
Yeah.
But to me, I look at that on paper and I say, the Sixers seem like a no-brainer in terms of their roster and their roster makeup. But
I would have rather played there.
Maybe LeBron knew something we didn't know of.
I'm drafting just Bronny Jr. in this draft.
Yeah, right.
You said you wanted to play with your son. Come on.
You drafted him. right out of high school.
I don't give a fuck if it brings LeBron here. Yeah, dude.
Collecting his rights. Yeah.
You think I care? It's not my team. It's not my money. Come on. Let's go.
Oh, my God. I love it.
Probably better than Thibault.
He can't want to stay there. He can't.
No.
I don't know, but I don't know if he gives a shit about winning anymore.
No, I don't think he does either.
He's already, his brand is made. He's making his money. He's in LA. Like, he's good.
Yeah, he's gold.
He's good.
I mean, he's a billionaire. Like he's got literally billions of money. So it's
I'm playing chess, baby.
Richard
Playing chess. Get Brian. Get Braun.
Yeah, we're all over here. We're all playing checkers.
Everybody's playing checkers.
Listen, Rich, speaking of playing chess versus checkers where we're trying to outsmart people, let's switch gears completely and let's talk fantasy football, because I know, Rich, if I had to guess at this point, your mock draft counter is probably in the mid to high 20s.
Don, I did number 20 today.
Yes.
So you are correct.
All right, let's go.
I will get my 55 plus in, and I think my latest draft is I think like Labor Day. So then that means I have about 70 more to go. So yeah, we're gonna be good. I'll hit my 100 threshold. Jay, I'm working on our draft day, and I'm not changing it to Dynasty. It's going to be revolving door of people, and I don't know if half the people are coming back this year. So I'll put a feeler out, and we'll see. But fantasy football,
I will tell you, I loved the sleeper draft from last year with the Joe, and you weren't in the draft last year, but we used the sleeper app, and we had a 2-quarterback league where like every team could play with 2 quarterbacks. So you could have a quarterback is like super flex.
It's hard as fuck.
Nice.
It was
so hard.
It was a ton of fun.
Joe, if you want in
that makes it more fun. Hey, do you have an extra slot?
Yeah, you're in the league.
Do you guys have an extra slot?
Oh, you're in, Joe.
You're in. Joe, you're in.
That's that easy, Joe. You're in.
That easy.
All right.
You're on the team. You're in.
You're in.
Beautiful, man.
You're running one.
It's my first team. I'm always on the bench.
You're in. No, you're in. You're starting. You're in the starting 12.
You're in.
So I'm 12.
We'll see how the draft pans out.
At least I made it. At least
Well,
I made
listen, Joe, we had a couple people that we had last year that ended up being a little duddish and played the first 3 games and then didn't do anything. So we're good to go. Who's the guy that you're excited about for this year?
Oh man.
Go ahead, Joe.
AJ freaking Brown, baby.
For fantasy though?
Yeah.
I need to hear.
Let's go.
I need to hear your explanation on this.
Hey man, he's playing with his buddy, playing backyard ball. Let's translate that to the NFL field. I mean, look at the quarterback he played with in Tennessee, and look at the stats that he had in a system that
I like it.
Pound and pound. Now he's got top-notch tight end. He's got a quarterback who's it seems like he's getting his shit together. Got a running game. Got a great offensive line. You got Devonta Smith on the on the other side of the catching passes. Why not, man? Why not?
As much as I like AJ Brown on the Eagles, I am staying away from him fantasy wise. I just have a feeling where he's going. So I listen to a lot of stuff, and I do a lot of mock drafts, and I do a lot of mock drafts with other people, and he's going for me, end of the second. It's just a little high for my blood, because then I can wait till the 7th or 8th, and then I can grab Devonta Smith, because I think AJ Brown's going to get he's going to get the top guys.
Oh yeah.
I need to see again Jalen Hurts make those throws. I'm super excited for Jalen Hurts. I think he's probably going to be one of the top quarterbacks, if not in the top 3. But I'm going to dig deep for you. A guy who I am targeting in every single draft super late, Allen Lazard. I think Allen Lazard is going to ball the fuck out. Yeah. And he is getting zero respect. My man is 6'5", 230, had 8 touchdowns last year, and that's with Devontae Adams playing on the outside. They vacate, 180 targets? They have to go somewhere. You draft the kid from the small school, what was his name, Christian Wilkerson or whatever?
Yeah.
Who had no production in college, and you think Aaron Rodgers does not like rookies. He does not like rookies. So everywhere that I see, and I can get Alan Lazard in I reach for him a lot, in the mock draft. So my highest I'm taking him is in the 11th round because he's just absolutely falling off boards. People are forgetting about him. But everybody is drafting the rookie, the kid Christian Wilkerson or whatever the fuck. I don't even know his name. But he's going in the 8th, 9th round. And I'm like, if you look at Aaron Rodgers' production for rookies per year, even his elite wide receivers in Jordy Nelson and Devontae Adams didn't have over 600 yards and 4 touchdowns. He doesn't like rookies. He goes to the people he trusts. MVS isn't there. He doesn't like throwing to the tight end. That leaves Alan Lazard and Aaron Jones. Aaron Jones is probably going to finish as the number 3 running back this year.
Yeah.
I love Gabe Davis. I do.
Yeah.
He's another guy. I like Isaiah McKenzie more because you can get him in the 17th, 18th round. Gabe Davis is going in the 4th, the 5th round in some drafts. Mm-hmm. And Stephon Diggs is going in the 2nd. I'm taking Stephon Diggs over Gabe Davis. I think that the prices are too high. That's how I look at what I'm paying for players. But the absolute sleeper of the year for me this year is DeAndre Swift. I think DeAndre Swift is going to be a monster.
Ooh, and a local kid.
Love it.
A prep kid.
What about you, Don? Who you eyeing, bud?
Listen, I'm going out where the lights are bright. Right? Devontae Adams and Darren Waller on the same field at the same time with a guy like Derek Carr who can efficiently manage a game when he gets to be able to get the time to get guys in space. I think those two guys being on the field at the same time are going to be dangerous. Those two guys are going to open up holes for each other because you're not going to have the ability to be able to double both of them. So they're both going to be able to put them on opposite sides. I love what Darren Waller can do from the tight end spot, but also when you split him out wide, when you put him in, he's a guy that you can put all over the place.
Your wife's getting jealous. All the Darren Waller love.
Oh my God.
Get Darren, Don. Let him live, Lacey.
Oh my God.
Let him live.
Good God. But he's a guy, those two guys out in Vegas are guys that I'm looking at to say, and you got guys that in Vegas that can get in space. So, and the guy is escaping my mind, but who's the kid from Clemson? The kid in the slot, little white guy, Renfro.
Renfro.
Hunter Renfro is,
and they just signed him to an extension,
right? And they just signed him to an extension. So, you have a lot of weapons out there. So, those are guys that I love.
I got a question for both of you guys. So, who do you think is going to be a bust this year? Who do you think who's coming off a great year in fantasy is going to absolutely let people down? It could be because they changed teams. It could be because you don't think the talent's there. Who do you think, Joe, is going to be a letdown?
Absolutely, Tyreek Hill.
Oh,
Tyreek Hill.
oh, yeah.
He took the money and ran, baby.
You take the money and run. I'm with you on that. I got another.
Tyreek Hill, man. Hey, Tua?
Yeah.
Who's Tua? What is Tua?
What is a Tua?
I'm in Miami. I got my 30 mil. I've already got my Super Bowl. And
I get a Fora.
This dude had the nerve to come out and say that Tua was better than Patrick Mahomes.
He said he was more accurate. More accurate.
My ass. My ass.
Said he was more accurate.
Get the hell out of here, dude.
Okay.
Yeah, man.
Tyreek Hill's been hanging out with Ricky Williams a little
That
bit
dude's
too
funny.
Yeah. That Miami weed's good.
He's been out on South Beach way
That
too much.
Miami weed is good.
Yep. James Harden, what are you doing?
He's hanging out at the James
John?
Harden establishment.
Yeah.
I
You
mean,
know, I mean, he's gonna. Don't get me wrong. The dude's gonna still ball, but it's gonna be that much harder for him. It really is. I mean, you know, you have what the hell is the guy's name? It's slipping my mind.
Waddle.
Yeah, you have Waddle, but it's like you still don't know what you're gonna get with Tua. You know, is he gonna get the ball out quick? Is he gonna put the touch on the ball like Mahomes did? You know, and is he gonna be content? You know, there's a lot of question marks with that whole situation down there. You know, I mean, they've got the talent on paper, but once again, it comes back to the quarterback. And what's Tyreek thinking right now? You know, he's got his money, and
that's all he cares.
Flash and the flare and the glitz and the glamour down in there in Miami. And hey, the dude got paid, man. The dude got paid.
I ain't mad at him. That's straight cash.
Not at all.
Straight cash.
no,
That's
Who do you
right.
got, Don? Who are you avoiding?
You can't expect him to excel and succeed like he did.
not at all. I'm looking at a guy who his play has dropped off a little bit each year, and I think this year, Alvin Kamara, I think, just takes another step back. I don't think there's enough around him, even though he is still dangerously athletic. There's not enough around him in New Orleans for them to be able to not just – if I'm a D coordinator, I'm taking away Alvin Kamara and I'm making Jameis Winston beat me or whoever's playing quarterback.
Like Jameis this year. They got the juice. They got Juice playing slot. You got Olave and Michael Thomas coming back.
I know.
Is Thomas healthy though? When is Thomas going to play? Like right away?
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any reports saying he's not.
Right.
Listen, I hope I'm wrong because he's an insane athlete.
Yeah, it's just tough.
And can get anywhere on the field.
When you don't have the dink and dunk of Drew Brees, it hurts.
Yes.
Having those other guys take away that coverage and be able to get him out in space in the flat and to be able to get a reliable guy to be able to get him the ball. I don't know. He's just a guy who just took a whole lot of step back for me. And I can't trust it until I see it. So I'm not investing in Alvin Kamara at all.
I like it. My pick is Derrick Henry. That is a guy who I always want to draft. And I'm in my head, it's like I always pass on him because I'm like, oh, this is the year he gets hurt or this is the year something happens. And like last year he was killing it and then he got hurt. I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't draft him. But he came back and he was still a beast. But I look at it as no A.J. Brown. Traylon Burks. He's not even attending camps. So that is not a good feeling. And then Robert Woods coming off who's Ryan Tannehill going to throw the ball to? And Ryan Tannehill just got out of therapy for how terribly he played, like in the postseason.
Right.
You're going to stack the box and literally let Ryan Tannehill beat him. And I just don't see Derrick Henry he's going to get hit. He's always been a guy who just gets 350 carries a year. But that production is going to drop off because they're going to be down so often and so early that Derrick Henry's not going to be able to dig him out of that rut. We got to do more fantasy episodes because this is fun.
Yeah.
All right. Who's a rookie who's going to come in and have a good fantasy year for you? You got a rookie skill position guy?
Either Cook from Buffalo will be immediate because he's going to get thrust into a starting role and he's going to have Josh Allen, or Breece Hall because Breece Hall is just going to get fed. That's pretty much – I stay away from rookie wide receivers. I don't trust them. Last year was the best with Jamar Chase. He's a certified stud. Justin Jefferson, certified stud. But this year, I'm not really a big fan on any of the rookie wide receivers coming out.
I think if you had to pick one of them, I think I think Garrett Wilson has a legit shot of making some noise in the league this year. He's got the route tree. He's got the speed. He's got decent size. He's going to go up for the ball and make some spectacular catches. But that's going to come down to Zach Wilson too. But I think
he's going to have to make spectacular catches because Zach Wilson.
Yeah, because he's not going to be accurate. So yeah, he might be. There might be a lot of jump balls, but I think some of the guys that were drafted in the first round, looking at a guy like Drake London, I think he's going to be a bust. He's boomer bust.
Thrown to him.
I think he's going to be horrendous. Some people say he's Mike Evans. Some people say he's JJ Arcega-Whiteside. So, I'm going with Garrett Wilson from the Jets.
I like
it. Listen, I looked at Rich. You mentioned a guy, DeAndre Swift in Detroit, that could be productive. The guy that I'm looking at is Jameson Williams, right? A guy that we all could have and probably would have been okay with if the Eagles picked him.
Yeah.
In the draft this year. So Jameson Williams is a guy that I love to be productive in that offense, purely because there's not a whole lot of other guys on the outside.
Agreed.
That Jared Goff's going to have. So Jared Goff's going to have his pick of the litter of being able to get Jameson Williams the ball. And if he can be 3/4 of productive as he was at Alabama, I think you're going to see a guy who at the very least in Detroit is going to put up fantasy numbers.
Yeah.
So
I like it. I love Jameson Williams as a player, and he'll come back from injury halfway through the season. They don't have to rush him, and he'll be dominant. He went to the perfect situation. Team that's not going to rush him back.
When when that all transpired in the first round and we moved up, I thought we were going to do that. I thought we were going to make the move for Williams, and then the Lions wound up jumping in front of us and taking him. And then there was nobody left, and we were like, "Oh crap!" Now it's really slim pickings. It was Treylon Burks was out there. We were like, "No, I don't think so."
We got Treylon Burks.
Yeah, and then but then it was weird because then you saw, and I think he's better than Treylon. You had Jahan Dotson get picked at 15.
Yeah,
which really threw me for a loop. But
he had a quarterback.
Yeah. Oh, come on, man! You hating on Carson?
Yeah, listen, that shit. I defended that shit too long.
One hit wonder.
All right, I'm gonna throw one more name at you before we get out of here. What about a guy like Sky Moore, who got picked and is going to go and play with Mahomes in Kansas City?
I like him. I like him in the later rounds. I like Juju. I'm not a real big fan of MVS. I think MVS was not that good when he was on Green. It's like you go from great quarterback to great quarterback. I don't think it's going to make a difference for MVS. I like Sky Moore, though. I think he has a chance to emerge as something. But I don't think they just re-signed Jerick McKinnon. So those vacated targets from Pringle and Tyreek Hill and Sammy Watson are going to Juju, McKinnon, Kelsey, Moore. And it's going to be so spread out, but I think Moore has a better skill set. Nah, I don't like McCole Hardman, Jay. I'm sorry. That dude is just a flat-out track star. My man has stones for hands. I can't do it. I was on that hype train last year, and I'm like, this fucking guy is terrible.
He always came up short.
Yeah, so I can't.
Always. Well, gentlemen, with that, let's roll into final thoughts.
Go ahead, Joe.
What you got?
Oh, boy. Well, it's going to be interesting to see with the Sixers what transpires tomorrow. There's a lot of rumors flying around. The latest thing I saw from Woj was James Harden is going to opt out of his player option and sign a deal probably at 2 years, which is probably the best case scenario because, well, the best case scenario would be him moving on and then parting ways. But I don't think that's likely going to happen. But yeah, I mean, are there any fireworks tomorrow night? Do they move that pick? Do they, what happens with Kyrie? What happens with Durant? There's so many dominoes that are going to fall between now and next Thursday. It's it's going to be lit. It's going to be lit. I can't wait to see it because then other guys might start wondering, hey, maybe I can go here or maybe I can go there. So it's going to be NBA is going to be fire over the next week or so. I can't wait to see what happens.
I like it. I'm going to go next, Don, and it's going to be quick. The Phillies suck.
Who?
Phillies sucks. Like Don, we were saying before,
Familiar.
are who we thought they were. It's just, you brought me back in to let me down again, and I'm sad. Phillies suck.
Oh my God.
That's it.
Oh, listen, just for final thoughts, like just a huge shout out to everybody that's out there putting out their own content. We've had a lot of people that we've connected with over the last couple years in terms of people that do their own show, people that want to guest and hop on and kind of helping each other out. So shout out to everybody that's putting out their own stuff. We're going to probably over the summer, in the course of the summer, probably try to do one of those shows we did a couple years ago where we had just everybody who wants to come on and promote their own stuff and just we just want to make sure that we're having the platform to be able to share that content, because to be truthful, we're all eating from the same plate. We're all trying to get to the same place where we're just trying to produce good, authentic sports content. So be on the lookout if you produce content. Be on the lookout for those things on social media where we'll have some episodes where people just can hop on to promote their own stuff, talk about their stuff, and talk about the same kind of shit that we do. So Joe, apparently my wife wants you to tell Erica that she says hi. So tell your sister-in-law that we said hello. Apparently,
will do, Lacey. She's got a pool party in the works. They're supposed to have a pool coming in August, apparently. Yeah. So where we'll be.
So yeah, Hey, listen.
And I'm not calling. I'm just showing up.
Listen, huge shout outs to our sponsors: Lots of Rain, Team Click, Shocked, Streaker Sports. If you see them in our link tree, go check them out. With that, gentlemen, Rich, you want to?
You stuck around. Found out.
Rich, also tell Jamie.
Thank you, Lacey.
Hello.
I will.
Tell him, Rich.
Fuck you, Deshaun Watson. Fuck you, Spike Eskin. Be good.
Fuck Ben Simmons.
Fuck Ben Simmons.
Let's go fishing, guys.
I'm chartering a boat.